Hi YouTube, welcome back. So it's the next day after I installed my Neomax, Silver's Neomax coilovers. This is my long drive to work and I want to give you first impressions of how it feels. That's always the question that's top of mind for Mercedes owners that have ABC and are pondering the conversion to coilovers. How's it going to feel? I want to get into details on this question and answer it with what I hope is, accurate statements rather than just opinions, so that you can take that and help reach a decision. The critical question is, should you keep ABC or move on to coilovers? Before I get into the details of this, I want to point out some of the observations that I have on why ABC is such a problem, and bring up a couple of points of how it could have been a better system. From all my readings and review of forum posts and problems with ABC, the Achilles heel for the CL500 and other Mercedes is ABC. The problem is that it is one of the fundamental critical systems of the car, the suspension, that was linked up to many points of failure in the system. And that is what cannot stay in place for a car that gets older and older over time. You simply cannot sustain a system like that with the investment in time and costs and resources to keep it running. At the heart of it, there is the problem of a tandem pump with high pressure lines. They could have easily implemented a dual pump system with the standard power steering pump, as well as a dedicated ABC pump that could be easier to reach, replace, and diagnose. Furthermore, the pump could have been better isolated from heat, as heat is one of the contributors to excessive wear and tear on any system, especially high pressure hydraulic fluids, lines, and the pump itself. Additionally, all of the lines, the sensitive lines that transfer high pressure hydraulic fluid to the four struts in the car, could have been designed at nominal, if any, cost difference with quick connect couplers for every transition from hardline to rubber hose. Instead, they were set up with permanent hose attachments that cannot be easily removed. The only remedy is to replace the entire hardline combination with soft rubber hose. That's not a sustainable system. It just makes for utter chaos when you're trying to service it, whether it's at the dealership or a third-party mechanic or a do-it-yourselfer. Almost every other hydraulic system on farm equipment, tractors, trucks, other vehicles, especially commercial vehicles, have quick connect rubber hoses that can be disconnected from the hard lines, specifically so they can be changed over time if they rupture. You don't have to take apart the entire structure of a vehicle frame and other components to get to the hard lines. So that's the other part to this. And then finally, the valve blocks. They were placed in places that are not easy to reach, not easy to monitor and diagnose. The hard lines could have been designed, I believe, in a separate unified design with one valve block, similar to how the ABS braking system is. There's one valve block at the front of the engine where hard lines are connected to. And so a unified valve block with accumulators in that one location could have been put in that would allow for, again, rubber hoses with quick connects from that to hard lines, and then back again to quick connected rubber hoses at each strut. Only the struts had the quick connect, and that's at the heart of the problem. So it wasn't designed well, and that's why I feel that as these cars are getting older, parts are going to get harder to find, and the only real solution is to transition away from ABC. Based on having driven the car before and after, I can tell you 100% ABC is 1,000% better in terms of the ride quality. Yes, it is better. However, the price tag of approximately, I'd say, $10,000 to refurbish the entire system. Let's call that an average of $2,000 a year over 5 years to replace components is just not sustainable for the average driver. If you have the money, do it. Great. I'd recommend that you buy the components in advance and buy them for future use, because at some point they're not going to be available anymore. If you go to Mercedes parts website, you will see that I believe the right rear strut is discontinued. Mercedes no longer has that. They have the other three for the other corners, but not that one. So they may have only a limited stock left of these struts, and once they're gone, they're gone. Now, if you're like me without endless budgets and wanting to drive a CL as a daily driver and enjoy the vehicle, I believe the conversion to coilovers is your only option. So, how does it feel? That's $1 million question. There's some squeaks and rattles, not a lot, but over bumps, I'm hearing new types of noises that I'd never heard of before. ABC definitely isolates the car a lot more. On the other side, though, I do have a better feel of the road. That is transmitted through the steering shaft to the steering wheel. I've never felt that before, so it's a little more responsive in that way. Overall, I'd say it's a worthwhile change. It's great, and I'll explain why. First, the peace of mind. That's priceless. I no longer have to walk out of my house in the morning, got to go to work, and wonder, wait a minute, is my suspension dipping a little bit? Is it a little low? Is there a problem today? Do I need to look for leaks? There's been times when I looked at my car and it looked like it was a little low. I turned it on and there's a red ABC light saying, do not drive. And sure enough, after about 5 seconds, the car picked right up. That warning went away. One other thing I observed was whenever I had to jack the car up on one side, it would significantly tilt the other side and compress that strut on the other wheel. Well, when I took off the jacks and put the car back on level ground, the red ABC light would pop up, and it took it a few seconds to bring it back up. You gotta wonder if jacking up a car, which doesn't make sense, but if you do jack the car up unevenly, does that damage the ABC strut in some way over time? I want to be able to jack my car up on weekends and do work under the car without worrying that I'm damaging part of the suspension, an expensive suspension. The other components are taking turns. How does that feel? With ABC, I was able to take turns at ridiculously fast speeds without any body roll at all. I'm talking about 360-degree turns to get on a highway at speeds of 60 to 70 miles an hour, so it does a little faster without any body roll. It's an amazing feeling. Well, with the coilovers, I don't think I'll want to take it at those high speeds anymore unless it's a really emergency evasive maneuver of some type. I'm going to try to take it a little easier, but at 40 to 50 miles an hour, I felt it's almost an imperceptible amount of roll. It was slight. You could feel it a little different, but it's really grabbing at like the most minor changes. It's hardly noticeable. Very safe, stable on those turns. Sudden lane changes, emergency lane changes on the highway were very safe. Emergency braking were fine. There is a noticeable dip in the front. Yes, that was not there in ABC, but that's because I need to adjust the dampening on my front coilovers and make them a little stiffer. I started the initial setting of 15. There's about 30 clicks from soft to hard on these. I started on 15 when I left the shop. I quickly updated it to 18, about 3 click increments. Then I went to 21, and I believe I'm gonna go to 24 next. I'm gonna do that tomorrow morning to see how that feels. And that aligns with what my good friend Brandon Green at Gold Element, he's one of the advocates of coilovers on the SLs and CLs, and his advice to me was around that number, 25 in the front. So I'm gonna get there. I'm still adjusting the rear, but overall I'm very satisfied with it. I just don't have to worry about ABC anymore. And is it perfect? No, but good enough for the price, the value, dollar for dollar basis with the cost of installing them. It's less than the cost of one strut to replace all 4 with coilovers. And it just, you're putting in coilovers that'll last 10 years at least, maybe more. So well worth it. Now here's the other thing that's unique about this car. I'm taking out all these components for ABC, so now I've got 4 struts, which are serviceable. They're used, but still have some life in them, and there's a market for those. People buy used ABC struts all the time. They're desperate. They need something because they want to stick with ABC, and so I've got 4 struts I'm selling right now. And I'll have a future update, another video to tell you what I sell them for. My, the reduction in cost by selling my used parts. But it doesn't stop there. There's also the ABC pump. I've got to buy another pump, which is, let's say, about $200 to $300 plus labor to install that. Okay. But I've got a pump that is, I believe, 60,000 miles, as far as age. And even if it was regular power steering pump, I'd probably want to replace it at this point. So I want to take out that tandem pump. It's got a resale value of a couple $100 at least. So that may be a wash as far as the cost of the new pump, the power steering only pump. But wait, there's more. Then there's all the valve bodies. There's, I believe, 2 or 3 at least in the car that I need to take out. I'm going to take out all the ABC system as well as the hoses and hard lines. taking them out is easy. You don't have to worry about putting something new in. It's a little bit of work, but hey, I'm doing it for fun on the weekends. So I'm going to take out those lines and sell them because they're valuable. It's a few $100 at least. Could approach up to $1,000 on those lines. And then there's a few other sensors here and there. Could take those out and sell those at $50 or $100 a pop. I don't know. All in, I could recoup $2,000 on the used parts for this thing. That would be amazing. There are very few cars out there that you remove old parts from and sell them, unless you're in the business of parting out cars. So those are some of the reasons why I believe the CL500 and other select Mercedes models from specific years are some of the most cost-effective and enjoyable cars to own as a used car owner. They hands down beat any used new car experience due to the cost savings of depreciation and the quality of the workmanship of the car and the design. So all in, if you're looking to make the jump, absolutely go to coilovers. I would not recommend the Strutmaster brand. You know what? I'll take that back. If you just want basics, you don't care about the look of your car, the stance, the way it feels, the quality. You just need something as cheap as possible and just a complete solution. Go with Strutmaster. If you don't care, you're not picky about how a car looks and feels, go with it. It's fixed as far as its dampening, and you get it, you install it. They have their fancy module that doesn't look like anyone else has. By the way, you can buy that module on your own, whether you get their coilovers or not. It's a little pricey in my opinion, but yeah, get that system if you want something basic. It comes with the brass plugs, the module, the struts. It's all there, so you don't have to do a lot of research. Go for it. But if you care and you want higher quality components that'll last many more years, I don't recommend theirs. I would say Silver's is probably the number one option, from my opinion, for standard driving. If you're a day-to-day driver and not looking for racing applications, track use, that extreme slam type of a feel, go with Silver's. The fit and finish of their equipment is just amazing compared to others, and I think that'll hold the value and the performance of these parts over time. It'll just be well worth it. So all in, I hope that this helps give you an idea, of first-hand impression of what it's like to convert. Take out that ABC, put in coilovers, never have to worry about it again, and enjoy your car. That's what it was designed for. Stop worrying about endless repairs and that constant cycle of, I changed one part and now the high pressure is restored to the system and the next weakest point in the chain is going to break. You eliminate that completely. You got to do the struts first if you want to do this. Plug the lines, then tackle the power steering. Do that separately so you can get it all done if you're using this daily. If their car is not for daily use and you can leave it in the shop for extended times, or you're going to do it yourself and you want to put it up on blocks and do all the work, then yeah, tackle it all at once. Do the struts and then do the ABC pump and then rip out all the rest. And sell those parts, please, folks. Unless they're completely destroyed, sell those parts and you can recoup some of your money. There may be some other shops, refurbishers that buy defective parts for redoing them, rebuilding them. If you know of any, please let me know. Leave it in the comments. And yeah, replace the system and make your Mercedes run reliably the way it should, and enjoy your car. All right, I hope this was helpful. Please like, subscribe, and thank you for supporting our channel. We'll see you again soon.